This is the Samsung Galaxy A06 disassembly. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload a new video. Also, if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Looking at the SIM and micro SD tray, we don't see any rubber gasket around the opening. Next, heat needs to be applied to the backplate using either a hairdryer or a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then a pry tool can be used to pry the backplate off. I prefer to use a hairdryer since there's less of a chance of damaging any of the components inside by overheating them. Here's a look at the plastic backplate. There are 18 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Now a plastic pry tool needs to be placed in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and ran along the edges to pop off the catches. The back housing cannot be carefully lifted up, but be careful since the flex cable for the fingerprint scanner is still attached to the main board. The back housing is also made of plastic. The camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and gently prying them off, so you don't need to take apart the phone to replace those. There's also an area of graphite film to help transfer heat. Looking at the other side, we can see numerous antenna flex cables around the border. We can now disconnect the battery cable, followed by the rest of the cables. The coaxial cable can be disconnected by just popping it off. So taking a look at the main board, we can see the 50 megapixel primary camera, as well as the 2 megapixel depth lens. There is no OIS or optical image stabilization. The camera connectors can be disconnected by just popping them off. The LED flash is located here, and there's a secondary microphone on the top. The SIM and memory card reader is located on the other side, and we can also see the 8 megapixel front-facing camera, the proximity sensor, as well as some copper film or tape on the back shields to help transfer heat. Once the copper tape has been peeled back, we see thermal pads on top of the RAM and processor. Here's a better look with the thermal pads removed. To remove the battery, there's a pull pouch provided to help you pry it off. Here's a look at the 5000 mAh battery. And here's a look at the bottom speaker assembly. Looking at the subboard, we can see the charger port located here, the primary microphone, and the headphone jack with a rubber gasket around it. Here's a look at the other side. The vibrator motor is located on the bottom corner, which is held down with some adhesive, so to replace that, just apply some heat and pry it off. The same goes for the flex cable for the volume keys and power button, as well as the top earpiece speaker. If you needed to replace the screen, you'd have to remove the back plate, the screws in the back housing. You would then disconnect the flex cables for the screen from the motherboard, as well as the subboard. You would remove the speaker assembly and the subboard, giving you access to these flex cables. At which point you would heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath. You'd pry the old screen off, apply new adhesive, reapply the new screen, making sure you run the flex cables back to the opening in the mid-frame, and reassemble the phone. For the repairability score on this phone, I give it a 9 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the back cover. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.